Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
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 Matt, I just got here and heard you guys are talking about something.
There it goes. Watching NQ.
NQ.
But before it open. Here it goes, 75. Get that. Boom.
And yeah, right before the open. Yeah,
Nice push. It'll probably drop right when it opens.
Yeah, careful of
Ready.
the
Yeah, get ready, Tarek.
Yeah, I'm out of it. Last piece,
Nice.
277.
You took a long on this, Tarek?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
I took the higher low on the 5 minutes with the entry when it did the higher low. I got the entry on the 2 minutes. It did like a double bottom.
Over here and then down.
And if you zoom before this pop, if you zoom on the 2 minutes, you'll find it played something like a double bottom.
Take this out of here. On the 2-minute double bottom here, yeah. Yeah.
And then a higher low. I entered on the higher low. It confirmed again with. I can share the.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to share your screen.
Yeah. I will just put a screenshot on.
In the chat if you want.
And I'll put it in the chat. Yeah.
Is it okay if I share it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, let me just go through my usual routine here. So economic news, there's not much as far as 3 stars. It's not a busy day today. No earnings. There's no earnings after. Trump is back from China, so stocks poised to pull back from record highs. This is what futures were doing this morning. Trump says China could buy more American oil. Okay, we'll see what happens with that. Kevin Warsh set to be sworn in as Fed chair. Chip stocks stumble after record rally, so they're stumbling right now, but Nvidia has earnings next week on Wednesday, I believe. SpaceX IPO perspective could come out soon, possibly next week. So that's a few things to know if it affects your trading. Cerebras yesterday, the IPO, remember I said it was priced at 185? It opened, and I don't know if I had said, I think I had said it could open at 400. So I was close. It opened up at 351, spiked up, and whoever bought at this price, and these are institutions, these are very early investors when it was still private, they probably started taking profit over here because this is a 90% increase, almost 100% increase. And then it pulled back. So I like looking at IPOs. I like to see what's going to happen over the next few days when retail and other people get into positions. So anyway, that's what happened with CRBS. SpaceX will be very interesting as well over the next little while. The VIX is climbing or was climbing, pulling back. If the VIX is part of your trading arsenal, it's something I could start sharing. And then MNQ this morning, or from the open at 6 p.m., it's just been dropping, pulling back, dropping, pulling back. And this morning I spotted a double bottom over here and did not take it, but I wanted to take a picture of it because it is part of my especially on the 5 minute here. It is part of my arsenal, part of my strategies. It is one of them. Trading at pre-market is not something I've done in the past, so I was just eyeballing it. And 2 wicks down, 2 higher time frame support, put in a very conservative spot below the wick, and it took off and went that way. Putting the stop halfway up the wick is a more aggressive stop, and would have been a 5R, but 3 would have been reached much quicker. So now we have, be careful of the fake move, push up on NQ. Let me just get rid of, actually, I'll leave this in and I'll take a picture of it for my students. What I would be looking at on ES is that the most recent move has been down, and down from over here to here. So if I use this as a start, we just punched right through it. So let's see what happens if I move it up a little bit. If I go up over here, then it is right. This is the pull back after that double top here. It pulled back over here and then came down. Not quite sure where I'd be putting it right now. I want to see what happens in the first half hour. MES mirroring what we see with MNQ. Staying away for the first hour. Sorry, the first half hour. M2K was doing very similar price action. Gold is was pulling back as well, but has not made it to pre-market low. I don't see much going on oil. Copper I've been putting on my screen lately, and the silver trade from yesterday. I did move my my fib. This is not where the fib was exactly, where I put in that trade and where I made that mistake, where the limit order was placed, but it wasn't. It had made a new low, but it did get to 3R right before pulling up. It was a very small position, and it was a paper trade position. But look at that area. Look at that 50. And once it pulled back, could not make it any higher than that. It just kept on flushing. Just kept on going down. So ONDS rocketing. I have ONDS over here. I think you were talking about it, Evo. I think you were talking about it yesterday. It had made an initial move in the morning, and then once it breached the pre-market, or actually that's the opening high, it just kept on going and came down, retested close to that breakout area, and is just taken off right now. So I don't know, do they have news?
Let's see. I think so.
S&P futures record rally. Take a breather after record rally. ONDS. Well, this one doesn't seem to be taking much of a breather. Ondas, Onberg, Palantir, US.
And revenue growth Q1. I think they had
earnings on Wednesday evening, yeah, I believe, or maybe Thursday morning before the open. So yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, always nice to, after earnings, I don't always remember, but I like to look at an earnings play about 48 hours later. Usually stocks, I figure, take about 24, 40 hours to digest the news before they move the way that they want to move.
Great, thanks for sharing. And
yeah. How things with you this morning?
I'm doing, if you're asking me, I'm doing good. I thought I heard somebody else talking there. So, and then Poet, similar move. Okay, I'll look at that in a minute. No, I'm doing great. It's a great Friday. No positions yet. Going to be patient this morning after this big pullback. Very curious to what's going to happen, because we have had pullbacks in the past, but they got bought up. Right? This was a higher time frame level that I had on here. That's why I was looking at that double bottom. It's poked down below here. So let's see what happens with the NES and MNQ. I'm going to see who is in control after the first half hour. If it does break down below pre-market low, this could be a breakdown and a retest. And if we look on the 30-minute time frame, 30-minute time frame around this area where the pre-market low is seems to be a bit of a level, right? It was here. Let's put a solid line here, right? It was resistance here and then just poked right through it, right? Resistance here. The next day at the open, poked right through, retested, and then took off from there. Was support, then came down, was resistance, and then support. And then on this day, doesn't seem like that level was really paid attention to. And now this is where we are. So it seems to be an interesting level. Right? Yeah, so we'll see what happens. If it hits it again, it could just be moving down from there. And I'm not going to get in on the initial break. I will, however, get in on the retest if it does retest to go lower. And if it does go lower, then again, we're on the 30-minute. I mean, last time it broke through, came all the way down here. So we could put a level there. Just curious to see the measured move here. The measured move would be probably a tiny bit lower here. Was trying to time that drop yesterday, and I had difficulty. But with this, let's go back to the 5. Let's look at this. There we go. So this is what I drew. Once we started falling, right? I cannot draw my fibs until I see a fair value gap on the 5-minute. So this is what I was seeing yesterday. Rejected this level a few times, then it dropped. We can tell by this fair value gap here that has not been filled. And then started pulling back and making new highs over here. So there is room to the left. The price rejected the top 3 times. I started the fib right here. I should have put an arrow here. So I started the fib where we started selling right there. And then there are 2 fair value gaps that print that show that sellers are in control. So by that, I think that we're going down. So I drew the fib to here, put in a sell order. Right over here, which I didn't take. I'm hesitant now. I don't remember. I'd have to go into my journal to see. I'm pretty sure I did not take this, but drew it in just to show that this is the pattern that I like to take. Aim for 3R, came back, would have stopped out to the tick probably, and then from there has just been going down. So that was on MES yesterday. Tarek, you, by taking profit, I hope you took profit at the top. I think you did, and that was probably a good move. Right? Because this just dropped down since there. It's probably back to your entry. There's that poet you were talking about. That is quite the wick, $3 wick. I don't know if there is news at 8:30 that would have affected this stock. And right now, for my trading, there's no room to the left. I don't see anything going on in here. Let's see. Can we see some movement in oil? We're just waiting on news here. And if there were news that, you know, some decisions were made with China, it would have been out by now, like major news, major events. There seems to be rumors. I mean, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not real. This was a big drop from yesterday at 1600. Sorry, 1800, 6 p.m. So for me, as far as room to the left, it would have to make its way back to the top. From where it started dropping, let's look at oil here, where it made, look at this fair value gap over here, right? So we're selling. From there, there is room to the left. Start the fib, bring it down to the first low right over here after it's after that that low is made. Where did it go? Right to the 50 and sold. Very short time frame. This was at 6 a.m. I don't know where I was for that one. Should have seen this. I don't know if anybody caught this. But now that we have pulled back there, what if we pull it back down here? And the new low is right here. There you go. Now it's not respected at all. So no trade. There you go. I think I might have seen this. What I didn't like about it is that we were just about to go close that gap. I didn't feel that we were going to drop still. I thought we might close the gap before dropping. Okay, so the first 15-minute has closed. If we look at the first 15 minutes, we're going down, right? And here, for my trading, I don't like putting in the fib yet because we don't have institutional selling yet. It doesn't seem like it because there's no fair value gap. And this is very common for the first 15 minutes. We got a big gap up and gap down. So let's see what happens. This candle right here is considered a trendy kangaroo. If the trend is down, we tried to go back up and it was heavily rejected. A short below the break of this candle can be a profitable short, right? On the break there. Personally, I think I would have put it over here, right? But where do you put your stop? Stop at high today. Right, that is a massive drop, even after we've already been dropping quite a bit. So something to look at. Okay, now we're dropping. And we are below that support. So if I were to draw a fib, I would start it here. This is the last time that we tried to go up and price was rejected. This is the last impulse move was lower. I would put my fib over here. I'd wait to see where we start retracing. I would prefer, let me draw it like this. I would prefer if we made it all the way down here before slowly coming back up. Because at this point, we have the 50 as well as a higher time frame was support, could become resistance. So I'm just going to leave this here for now. Anybody else questions, comments? What you're looking at? And if I put the fib right there where we punch down, we are trying to retrace into that 50 right now. I do not like entering something that made the low and retouched the 50 on the same candle. So I won't take a look at this. Well, right now, it's fairly obvious that we don't know who's in control. So let's see what happens. 10 more minutes until the first half hour.
Still looking at ONDS, it had a pretty steep pullback to the 78% level on the fib. What I liked about it was that we had this giant red 5-minute candle, but only half the volume than the preceding candle. But my entry, I was really thinking to get in around 11:20 and put a pretty tight stop on it and boatload the shares. But I guess I got freaked out by it pulling back so deep. And so I hesitated. I didn't decide to get in, but I had my finger on the trigger ready to get in around 11:20-ish and put a stop maybe around 11:13. So I'm not going to go chasing now.
Based on price action?
What's that?
Is the strategy mainly based on what you're seeing in price action, or is it?
Yeah, ABCD pattern, from the low to the high and the pullback. And
okay.
There was a volume anomaly, at least for what I saw, was a giant red candle. The volume was half than the first red candle that printed at 9:35. So that got my attention with the anomaly. But the fact that it pulled back really steeply, because 11:30 is kind of an important pre-market level to hold. So I had some hesitancy, so I decided not to get into it. But I've been kind of watching it. But maybe I think I'm glad I didn't get into it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, just for those who are following with volume here, and this is what Evo was talking about, is that we had a lot of volume here on a doji or indecision candle over here, and then a big red giant candle, big pullback, but on very low volume. So that is the anomaly he was talking about, right? Big candle like this should, in essence, have higher volume. But it didn't. And now we're really pulling back on volume. Volume's really dying off over here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I figured that 11:30, I was really hoping that big red candle would kind of bounce off 11:30, because that was kind of the recent pre-market
right
high level, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. PDC is 11:21.
Yes. I was thinking that, okay, if it bounces off the 11:30, if I see some buyers and we get a little southern wick there at around that range, then that tells me that that's probably a strong support area. But the fact that it punctured through, and again, it just pulled back too steeply. And look, see, it's actually going back further south. So my gut was right, because I normally don't like to get in on pullbacks where it's that steep. I prefer the golden zone, 50 to 61.8%.
Yeah.
When it goes below 61.8, it's a little too much for me.
So ONDS is a drone, autonomous drone systems, counter drone technology, AI powered security and surveillance. Sorry, difficulty with that word. And private wireless communication networks. Business has become heavily tied to defense technology, autonomous drones, and government industrial contracts. So, not that it matters, by the way. Not that it matters. It doesn't matter at all. Right, Evo?
No.
When you're, I mean, we're not investing in the company for the next 30 years. We're trading, right? We're trading patterns. And that was just me sharing out of curiosity. And if anybody who's following right now is wondering what ONDS is, I'd heard of it. I just didn't remember what they were. And trusty old friend ChatGPT just shared that information in point form. Right?
Yeah.
Points. There's a famous Mark Minervini interview where he's asked something about an investment, and I have a lot of respect for Mark Minervini, by the way. Secret Mindsets for Winning is a phenomenal book. If you haven't read that book, Mark Minervini is an amazing trader. But the book, it has very little to do with trading. It has a lot to do with mindset. But anyways, there's a famous interview where he's asked something about this product that he's trading, and he didn't really know how to answer. And at the end of the day, who cares, right? If he didn't know what the company did, it didn't matter. He was basically trading what he was seeing on the chart.
Trading with the chart and not your heart.
Yeah. Good. I like that. I don't think I've ever heard that one.
Yeah. But I'm going to watch it. It has a lot of volume today. So far, over 39 million shares is definitely in play. High volatility, 1.22 on my system. Its ATR is usually around 90 cents ish. And so far, we're sort of negative 10 cents. So I don't know. I'm going to kind of wait and see, give it some time. Maybe we'll get a low, and then we'll get a pull flag underneath. I just want to see I want to see it do something, and then I'll just wait for an opportunity, a good risk to reward where, I get a tighter candle in a direction where I want it to go, and I can load the boat with shares.
Yeah.
And capture a nice move for 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm done. But
yeah. Great.
Otherwise, I'm sitting on my thumbs. Tesla looks like it's, at least so far, we got a nice big green hammer on the bottom here. It's kind of making an approach to VWAP. We'll see what that does.
Yeah, Tesla higher time.
That's been in play lately. That's been really nice to trade this week.
Yeah. Yeah, big drop. The open at 4 a.m. and then drop again. This under S6 here, this definitely looks like a continuation down. Sorry, let me just put the fib here. Let's go over here in the golden zone right now, plus right under S6. Volume on the pullback, right on the pullback. We're buying here, but declining volume. Right, so this move up here seems to lack momentum. If this 5-minute candle closes red here, this could be an entry short. If you went in, if you trusted this and went in with a limit order, the limit order would have filled right at the 50. It would have filled short, right there. Like I said, you have to trust and backtest this system with the particular product to have the confidence to put a trade like this on. But right there, ticks for profit, add 2 ticks, and there you go. And that's 3 right there. So a limit entry short would have been right here. Let's see if 3R is achieved. Where is internet cutoff? The one where is internet cutoff? I don't know if you're referring to something somebody else said. But Hamza was saying there's a big drop on Bitcoin. Yes, I just drew a line here for previous support from Wednesday. It is absolutely dropping. I personally would not get in long at this support right now. It would have to show some buying and then retest the support for me to really trust it going up, because that is quite the drop here.
Hey, Gilles, do you get the feeling that the market is acting the way that it is right now, and Bitcoin, a risk-on asset, is acting the way that it is because of the lack of any substantial news coming out of the China trip by the administration?
Yeah, I'll start waving you off like a bad pitch right now, just because Bitcoin is not my area of expertise. I'm not sure. I like looking at it. I've never traded it. I'm not a fan of, I would have been a fan had I invested in 2011. But yeah, I'm not any type of cryptocurrency. I'm not very knowledgeable in. It's just one of those things that I've talked about it in business class. You know, explain the theory behind it. But yeah, I'm no expert. So I don't know. I don't know what this drop is. It seems to be coinciding with the drop in MNQ and MEES from the tops, right? This is obviously not all-time high, but where MNQ started dropping yesterday, Thursday, 12:20. Look at Bitcoin, 1 p.m. started dropping, right? So it seems to coincide with the market right now. It doesn't always. So yeah, I'm not sure. What do you think? What do you think?
I just have a hunch it might be related, that they may be tentative right now for any, you know, super substantial deals coming out of there. But that's just a hunch. I don't know. But definitely things are selling off. And actually, your call on Tesla looks really good. Like I'm looking at TSLQ, which is a 2x inverse of Tesla. And
the limit order, sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say the limit order has reached the 3R. Right? And again, you have to have a lot of confidence in this system to put in an order, because that order would have been over here. Let me replay. Come on, replay. Replay, it's on because select date. It should be on select bar. There we go.
was that rejection right at the 50% level on Tesla?
Very, very close. Let's look at it on the 1 minute here.
Yeah.
Right. So this is how I would play it on MNQ and MEES, is where I've been doing the major back testing. But the 50 has worked forever on every product. Right. It's a very well-known when you're selling or when you're buying, there's going to be pullbacks, and the 50 zone is often touched. But this is where I would have started, because we've got a fair value gap on the 5 minute on the way down. We can tell that we're selling. This is the bottom, right? The swing low. This is where I would have put it. At this point, had I been trading it and had I had confidence in the system in Tesla, which I don't yet, I would have put a limit order to sell right here with the stop above the 6150. But look at these wicks here, right? You have to have a lot of confidence, because it can take your limit sell and it can wick you out within seconds. Right? So that's the disadvantage of going in with a limit order. But if we go candle by candle, here's the 1 minute. Right? Is there an entry? There's an entry. Right? Look at how it wicked into the 50, which coincides with pre-market low right here. Look at that. Entry on the break of that 1 minute. Right? If you're going in with a market order, and be careful of slippage if you are, because this drop was very quick. And then off you go. Right? And why I don't aim for 17R? It hit 3R, and look at it pulling back. By the way, on a market order, you could get in on the break here, but your stop could be above the previous wick, which is aggressive. Conservative is above the 61.8. And if that's the case, then your 3R is down here. So thanks for pointing it out, Evo.
Sure thing. You're welcome.
Go back to the 5. Let's see, it's approaching low of day over here, putting in another 5 minute fair value gap over here, which is indicating selling pressure. And what's this level here? I had this level here for a demonstration I was doing over here. Take that off. Yeah, it was former resistance over here, became support. So this line can stay here. If I were short over here, I'd be looking around here, right? Not just to put one line. Let's put a rectangle. Right around this area here, right? It's the most recent low. So if we are selling, and if we continue selling, the likely target is down here. So yeah, that limit order golden zone short would have worked really well. The market order, you get in further away, right? And your stop's going to be further away, but it's safer, right? So you have to decide what works. What else we got? We've got chop, right? Chop in MNQ, directionless on MES. Big drop in M2K. I like this. Should have looked at it sooner because look at this drop here. You can tell what's going to happen. That's the beginning of the drop, the most recent impulse sell. And then we started buying right here. Where did it go into? The 50. Limit sell. Stop. Aim for 3. And we'll see. No guarantees. But let's see. Let's see if it put an alert here. And an alert here. Like Avi was saying, once the trade is on, you know, put an alert to, or what he was saying just recently is if you're looking at something, just put an alert and then go about your day. Once the alert goes off, then you look at it. What I like doing is once I'm in a position, I put an alert at the take profit and an alert at the stop loss. Then I go about my day. And when I get notified of the alert on my watch, I can usually tell. Usually, sometimes I don't remember what level is which. And I know that either I was stopped out or I got the target at 3R. So I love TradingView. It's such an amazing tool. Not ideal for the best entries. When I say not ideal, it's not as good as what I was using before with DOS. But if you're not too worried about the entries, you know, 1 tick, 2 ticks away, it's a very, very good tool. But it's one of many. Gold, I wanted to say yesterday, I was talking about this. Was it this one? I think I might have moved stuff around. Yeah, it was this one. So yesterday we started buying, right, at 9:40 something. Let's go back to the 5-minute. That's why it doesn't make sense to me. Zoom into here. So was it this one? Yes, it was this one. So I started describing this one yesterday. There was a fair value gap. Well, let's do a replay. Let's start new. Just so that we can see the gap. There you go. So there was a fair value gap on the way down. We can tell that we've got selling pressure. The most recent impulse move was here. Started buying over here. Put a limit order at to sell at the 50, stop at the or just above 61.8, and then go to the 2-minute. right? Entry would have been right there. Come on. And target hit just a few minutes later. So that was one I was talking about yesterday. Did not take it, and I'm going to have to start taking more because I am missing out on some of them, especially around the 10 o'clock. That's where I like getting involved, like 9 minutes ago. Like the M2K here. MCL is very mellow, sideways. Bitcoin, are we holding support? Oh no, Hamza, you're pointing this out. I don't know if you're listening, but this, again, if we're talking about edges, it was support. Is it likely, on a 50% basis, is it likely to hold as support? I think so. I think it's a little bit more than 50%. And if it's a little bit more than 50%, that's an edge. Right? As far as Mark Douglas is concerned, that's an edge. We think it's going to go long from here. It's going to hold as support. Well, it did for 3 candles. Right? 1, 2, 3. I don't know what the entry is. I do not have a trade book for this. But buying at the bottom here, I'm sure a lot did, and it's partly the reason why we're moving up. A lot of people got involved here. We're not the only ones that put on these lines here. I am going to cut out a little bit early today. I do have an event that I'd like to get to. So in the next probably 5 minutes, I'm going to cut out. I don't know if anybody else is coming on. Brian, I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if you're coming on a little bit later on. I do not see any announcements for anybody coming on, but obviously the room remains open. For those that are listening, I hope that the analysis that I'm sharing, especially with the 50% retracement, I hope it's helpful. And if it is, thank you, Tarek. And not that I'm looking for a pat on the back, but the reason I'm sharing it is go ahead with questions and share your thoughts. Share your thoughts if you see something like this yesterday, right? Right? Yesterday, this was, I was talking to one of my students about this, that, it'd be nice that, somebody would you go back to the bar, if somebody would say, hey, Jill, would you take this? Right? We started buying at the open, right? We pulled back from that pullback. Well, let's, do I have 2 to put in? From here to here. There you go. And then if we go candle by candle. So we started buying, then we pulled back. Right at this point, the most recent low was over here. This is where I'd start the fib. And I would bring it up to this level here. And it just goes to show that it pulled into the 50 again and then made new highs. Just a 3R, and then it started reversing again. But if you guys see stuff like this, let me know, and we'll analyze it together. Thank you, Oliver.
The silver, it just put the same trade I took earlier on the MNQ, MNQ,
The long you were talking about?
the long, and and I took the long on silver.
On silver?
Yes,
Um,
SIC.
yeah, I think I deleted it to get back over here. I see. That's not it. SIC silver. There we go. Let's get over here. So there you go. Pre-market low, chopped around, making new highs. Right, making new lows, higher lows. So there's some buying going on. Is that where you got in, Tarek?
I got in 76, 76.92.
Yeah, that's above a pre-market low, right? That's all. I'm glad you said that. 76.92. Yeah, good luck with that. That's, there's
Late to it, late to the party.
it's printing a fair value gap and a fairly large one, right? So that means there was a lot of buying in this candle right here. If this one holds and we make new highs, that's a big drop.
Yeah, that's a big drop.
Just like that. There's definitely some sellers involved, right? That's why.
Yeah.
Bitcoin seems to be holding support. MNQ. Am I on a, no, 5 minute, that's good. MNQ is putting in a 5 minute fair value gap, so we're starting to buy. Difficult to go long here because all these areas, look at these wicks over here. We rejected this area over here. Let me just draw a rectangle. All right. That's possible resistance. Possible resistance. Possible resistance, right? That's what we mean by room to the left. It's on the way back up here because we were going to, and don't get me wrong, it can absolutely get through all this resistance. It's MNQ, and MNQ has just been buying like crazy the last month. But going long here, when you look left and there's all these prior areas of rejection, it's difficult to get through. It is absolutely possible. So there's my my M2K alert. Let's go see which one it is. Is it the stop out or the profit? It is absolutely possible to get through all these, but I prefer having less resistance. So M2K, it was a stop, right? Did not make it to target. So there you go. Chalk it up as one that didn't work.
The silver started working now. I'm still in.
Oh, I'm glad you weren't stopped out. That was quite the drop there, and then quite the reversal, right? This
It's not for the faint of heart.
no. Oh, that's a lot of volume here, right? There's a lot of volume coming in.
And on the CVD, it's looking good. That's why I didn't get out, because the drop was strong, but I couldn't see the selling on the CVD.
Yeah, good point. There's a CVD still at the highs. There was a drop. Let's just, can I zoom into this? There you go. So CVD is still negative right now. Below zero means that the sellers are more, are in control or have been in control, and you can tell that it's just been dropping over here. But to your point, when that drop came in right here, it did not drop drastically. It wasn't a big candle. A big drop didn't drop lower than the previous candle. So it just goes to show that in this case, that particular candle does not feel like the sellers are in charge. Is that how you analyze it, Tarek?
Yes, because if you want to see a big drop, it needs to reflect also with a big volume or a big drop on the CVD.
Yeah.
But when they don't align, you start seeing, okay, that might be different.
Yeah, that might have been a false move, right? Fake drop here.
Or just shaking people out of the trade.
Yeah, and it gives you confidence to stay in, especially, hopefully, we're not telling people here to move their stops. Your stop was lower, right?
Yeah,
And
my stop was a new low from the previous one I entered.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Well, good luck. And like I said, what time is it? It's 10:20. So I'm going to cut out 10 minutes early. I might be back this afternoon. I don't know if anybody's going to be in the room playing some poker. But for now, I've got to head out. So have a phenomenal weekend, everyone. And I'll be back on Monday. Hopefully you guys will be too. All right. Cheers.
Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Take care.
Much, Joe. Really appreciate it.
Derek, thanks everyone. Thanks for sharing, and have a great weekend. If you're in Canada, in Ontario, finally the weather is warming up this weekend. So have a sunny and warm weekend. All right. Cheers. See you later.